Hi, and welcome to another episode of Nursing Your Way to Wealth, where a mental health nurse and an accountant talk about wealth creation, personal development, and financial independence in the UK to help you live the life you deserve.
Hi and welcome back. This is episode 78 of Nursing Your Way to Wealth. Both Nurse Alex and Accountant Alex are back to just add some more depth, close a loop on something from episode 77, Optimizing Your Salary. So we've inventively called this one Optimizing Your Salary 2. Possibly could be a third one, depending on how this goes, but I think unlikely. So just a little kind of introduction. Morgan Housel's written a new finance book. If you've listened to any other episodes before, you'll know that we both like his style of writing and his work. It's called The Art of Spending Money, published in 2025. I think June, July, August kind of time. I'm about half an hour or so through on Audible, and I rate it so far. It's as good as the other two, I think. So, Alex, welcome back. And have you read Morgan's book or no?
Yeah, hi Alex and hi everybody. I have not read this one actually, but yeah, keen to hear how you find it. I think generally I do like his writing style, and I'm assuming like the art of spending money, given his because the theme of the other books was all about I guess accumulating and being disciplined and sensible. That this is more once you've got to that point, then go and don't feel guilty about splurging.
Basically, yeah, yeah. It's called The Art of Spending Money: Simple Choices for a Richer Life. So there's a bit of simplicity, possibly minimalism. Haven't read the whole thing, so don't know for sure. But it's about you've done the first phase, psychology of money. You've understood how markets work and how the world works, and now you're choosing what to do with the money you have.
Got you. Yeah, no, it sounds interesting, and yeah, he's a good writer and very engaging. So yeah, we'll give that a go.
Yeah, I think so. It's good so far. In terms of no, wait, I forgot. Let's do Return on Heartbeats. Which is that a me thing this week or a you thing?
I think that's a you thing this week. I've got a surprise, reasonable or ridiculous.
All right, cool. Okay, so in my kind of terms, Return on Heartbeats, it was my wife's birthday 3 days ago. It's turned 35, so
Happy birthday.
yeah, that was really good. And we ended up just spending the day with her family. And her grandparents have this huge kind of sloping garden, and they grow loads of vegetables and fruit and things. And they're kind of late 80s now, so they struggle with the upkeep of the garden. So whenever we go there, we normally do some form of, I don't know, whether it's pruning trees, picking fruit, digging vegetables, or something. We normally do bits and bobs like that. And her extended family, aunts and uncles, cousins, were there too. And we ended up picking enough grapes, like these are red grapes, not green, off of the vines to give enough to everyone to have like a couple of bunches each. And I really enjoyed kind of picking it from the vine. I tried a number of them as well. And just kind of giving them out. It was really nice. It was quite a wholesome thing to do. And the grandparents enjoyed it as well. Like obviously we gave them some, and they said like if we didn't pick it, normally they would just fall to the floor this year and last year. So it's kind of saving something that was due to, I guess, rot on the ground. But it was just a nice thing to do for like 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, that sounds very wholesome. Are they based in the UK?
Yeah, yeah, they live on the south coast, so they've got quite their garden's very fortuitous to get quite a lot of sun. Yeah.
Ah, okay. I was going to say it's a good move growing grapes in
Yeah, they've got seeds in, so they're not
UK.
like your seedless type variety of grapes, and they used to turn them into wine.
Hmm.
So in their garage, they've got this big wooden. It looks like a barrel, but it's got a twisting thing on top where you would turn this lever, and it would corkscrew its way down and squish the grapes. And there's a little um, I don't know what you'd call it, like the spout of a jug, barrel spout. I'm going with barrel spout, and you just put a bucket underneath it. All the grapes and stuff, the juice goes into there, and then you sit it, and then you store it, and it turns into wine ferments over many months, I think. But they used to do it all the time, and they haven't done it due to being 88 and 89 this year. So
Yeah,
it's
fair.
just a nice thing and a little bit like I don't know if we'll make any wine out of it, but it just reminded them of a time where they were, well, much younger, I suppose. Um,
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that's nice. I mean, I would definitely be making wine.
they made a lot of red wine over their time. You've got to be careful with it. If you one batch they did 1 year, they got some kind of bacteria in it or something. Someone forgot to open an airway or something, and it made them really unwell. And everyone who
Oh,
drank
right.
it. So,
Okay.
just a little disclaimer: if you're going to make wine out of your own grapes, make sure you know what you're doing. Yeah, don't come back to me if you end up in hospital. So,
Yeah, disclaimer.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, do not do it unless you know exactly what you're doing, and exonerate us of any wrongdoing.
That's it.
Yeah. So return on heartbeats then for the weekend, Saturday afternoon, picking red grapes. Yeah, and my wife's grandparents' garden. Really good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
lovely.
all
That
really
sounds very, yeah, really good.
Okay, let's swap to optimizing salaries because we're at minute 6 nearly. Last week we spoke about some child benefit tapering, but neither Alex or I could remember the figures off the top of our head. Just to close the loop on that, you get child benefit up to earning £60,000 per year for 2025 and onwards. Is subject to change, but that then tapers off until you get nothing if you earn over £80,000 a year. So I think it's like a sliding scale. If you earn 62, you'll get more than if you earn 72 or 78, etc. And that's just for um, each individual person, I believe. So yeah, it's a little bit, I think, a little bit punitive to taper that off, I suppose, because every child has needs and stuff they want. Um, but yeah, I don't run the government, so I suppose it's labelled as an additional tax. I think for people who earn more than 60 grand a year.
Yeah, I think that's, I say you don't run the government yet. Maybe,
Yeah, yeah.
maybe in the future. But yeah, I think it just highlights as well, just being aware of even though your income, so it's like the income that pushes you over that tax bracket, that there's almost other far-reaching implications of that, not just you pay more income tax. And yeah, the child benefit is one. So I think it's one to be aware of. And I think like we say on all of our kind of previous conversations around looking at jobs, and if say if you are looking to move roles or get an increase in pay, just being aware and including that in your calculations.
Hmm. I mean, going from something like 55 to 65 sounds great, doesn't it, on paper? You're like plus 10,000, but when you work out the real term cost of that, it could mean that you're doing a more difficult, more stressful, whatever adjunct you need here, to actually not be better off. So yeah, do the maths, do the research, and make an informed decision.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just to add on to the optimizing salary, so I think the last episode we focused on going from the tax band from like 20 to 40% tax bracket. The next tax bracket, it's kind of the similar theme in terms of what happens when you're into your next tax bracket. But so your higher rate band, so that's where you pay 40%, goes from £50,271 to £125,140. Anything over that, you then start paying 45% tax on that. But there's a little wrinkle in the tax code that there's a bit of a tax trap between 100 and that 125,000. And so for every £2 over £100,000 that you earn, you lose £1 of your personal tax-free allowance, and that is 12, just under £12,600 a year. So during that time, you're actually paying, sorry, about 60% tax rate because you lose almost the money that was originally paid, that was tax-free originally, is now getting taxed at 20%, and then as well as being taxed at 40% on the higher band. So it's slightly frustrating, that one. And probably if people with children, the big impact can be on childcare. So admittedly, I don't have children, so I don't have first-hand experience of this. But if you have got, so if say if you're a couple and one of you earns over £100,000, it doesn't matter if about the joint household income. So if one of you earns over 100,000, you lose eligibility for the called the enhanced offer of the 30 hours of free childcare per week. Um, I've not had to pay for childcare myself, but I've got friends who do pay for childcare, and I know it's absolutely extortionate. So that 33 hours, if you lose that, is probably worth thousands, if not tens of thousands of pounds a year, depending on where you're located. So another one of those things to consider if you have children, and those that free childcare per week is for children aged 9 months to 4 years old. So kind of in that kind of early stage before they go into school. So a lot of money to give up there if you were to just be given that you could literally earn £1,000, 101,000, and then end up losing, and so you'd end up paying 60% on that. So your net gain is £400 that year, but you could potentially be losing, 30 hours of free childcare each week, um, which is, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of pounds. So I think another thing to be aware of. I mean, this rule I think is quite heavily criticized because in theory you could have to two parents both on like 90,000 a year. So you've got a household income of 180,000 and still get the free childcare, but you could have one parent on 101 and one parent on 20. So you've got a household income of 121, and then you're not actually able to yeah, you then lose out on the benefit. There's a little bit of a crap rule in my in my opinion.
Yeah, it doesn't seem particularly well thought out, does it? That it's a little bit like this is the rule, and if you fall foul of it, then it's tough luck.
Exactly.
Um,
And I think
yeah,
it's just being um yeah, being really, really cognizant of these things when you start pushing for if you're nearing that bracket. Sometimes it's better to be I always think for me it's you're either better on like 99 or like 200. Like then it kind of makes more sense. But in between there is you
yeah,
get really punished. Um, and yeah, if you were to go over that £125,000 uh, income limit, so you then start paying additional rate tax, your savings allowance that you're allowed, so like your personal savings allowance. Remember before you were allowed £500 a year of interest, like bank interest. That goes away. So all of your interest is then taxable, and your dividends, if you were to then receive a dividend, that is taxed then at 39.35%. So huge implications for going over those brackets.
yeah, definitely. I mean, even on the dividends thing we spoke about before, there was a quite punchy jump from 20% to 40%, and it's just gone up again, hasn't it? So
Correct.
you could very easily like come afoul of some of these rules if you don't know about them in advance. And it sounds great going from say earning £90,000 to 110, but actually, yes, on paper you've got £20,000 gain in salary. You're very unlikely to see a lot of that, depending on your circumstances. If you had children or two, young ones, and you lose these other allowances as well, you might find yourself working harder, longer hours, etc., and not feeling any better off.
Yeah, I think that's a reality for a lot of people when you're in and around that kind of low hundreds or um
Mm.
I think it's yeah, because just on that dividend point before, if you're a basic rate taxpayer, so 20% taxpayer, any tax on dividends is 8.75%. So really like yeah, quite brilliant. And then once you cross the threshold and into the 40% tax bracket, your tax on dividend goes up to 33.75%. So there's a huge jump um, in that. So yeah,
Yeah. I mean, there's about a jump between 20 and 40, but also between like the 40 and the 45% bracket, there's another 5.6% on dividends,
yeah,
as well as the other additional, and you lose any form of savings interest whatsoever.
that's right. Yeah,
Um, I guess it's why premium bonds are favoured by people who earn this kind of money. But I think if you told someone on the street who earns the average kind of income, 36,000 ish, or somebody on minimum wage, you'd be like, oh, if I earn that much, all my problems would be solved. But actually, if you are earning that much, you might have to live in a city, or you might have to have access to London, etc. Not always, but possible.
Hmm.
And with that comes increased costs.
Yeah.
In terms of the job you have to do, you might have to dress a certain way, be a certain place at a certain time, etc. So it does come with extra pressures. So I can really see why people struggle with the somewhat punitive tax rates when you get to that stage. And it's one of the other reasons, just in my area of health, that GPs and kind of higher level NHS staff don't do additional work, because they just say it's not worth their time, because they fall well into these brackets. And it becomes, I think, a double negative for not only the employee, the person, the doctor, the whoever, but also the NHS as a whole, because it just pushes waiting lists further. If it were less punitive, I think they would work more, and people would be able to be seen by particular niche specialisms or general GPs.
Yeah.
So is the like is the strat here, like the strategy around it? Plan as best you can, be aware of these things, and then if you can, salary sacrifice some of your income into your pension to keep it. These strategies, they're useful, but they're good if you say earn 105,000, for example,
Yeah.
or you earn say 55 or something like that. When you're getting into the realms of way beyond, say 125 plus, you can put some into your pension, but at some point you're going to fall foul of you can't put any more in your pension, and we're talking 160,000 plus here, something like that. At some point, just paying a lot of tax is a nice problem to have, right?
Yeah, and I think that's it. So exactly right. Pension contribution, salary sacrifice is the most efficient and kind of easiest way of just reducing that your income. But there's a point where, correct, you do just end up going over because you earn a lot of money, and it just probably it has to be an acceptance. There's probably things around it. If you like own a company, there's potential ways of
Mm.
like changing the way that you pay yourself through a form like combination of salaries and dividends. But yeah, it tends, unfortunately, there's a point where you just have to sometimes the pay the tax. And then there's still things like you can make full use of, I guess, your ISA allowances and your spouse's ISA allowance and your kids' ISA allowances. So there's ways of almost, if you then have got money after, yeah, these are obviously after tax, but it's to then shield further
Mm-hmm.
taxes. Say on dividends, if you put your money in an ISA, which is 100% the right place to have them, any gains, any dividends is tax free. So you're kind of building that kind of tax free barrier um, from it. And because if you tend to be a higher earner, there's more chance that you will fill those ISAs and therefore shield more of your money into the future tax years.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So if you're kind of getting, I think a lot of people will end up in the 40% bracket at some point very soon if these bands brackets don't change. I'm about to be in the 40% bracket as a community nurse, which is a bit mental to think about. When I first started training, it was so far off that I was just like, that's never going to be a problem for me. But here we are. So yes, salary sacrifice, and what we mean basically by that is put more of your money into your pension. So on paper, you earn less. So if you earn 55,000, put 5,500, say, or £5,001 into your pension via salary sacrifice, which means you get to keep it because it's locked within your pension, but you just can't spend it for some amount of time, depending on how old you are. But the other point, Alex, you raise of further optimizing things, actually make use of your ISA allowance, which I think is useful at 20,000. You can fill your partner's one as well. And also save, like if you do have children, save for your kids as well. Use their
Mhm.
junior ISA allowances. And if you're still you still have excess money and you filled all of those things and you've done everything like that makes efficient sense with it, then consider sending it to us. No, like enjoy it, right?
Yeah,
Do something nice, yeah. Give money to charity, etc. Because you've essentially probably won the money game at that point. Um, but I think it's useful of kind of understanding what you can do to shield that money from further tax. I've heard it mentioned as like an umbrella, where like the
yeah.
tax rain can't hit you because you've shielded some of that money. Um, and the good thing about an ISA is any gains in there are just tax free. So
That's it, and accessible whenever as well. So that's the other
yeah,
thing.
you can get it really
Yeah,
quickly. Other than that, you can use a general investment account,
yeah,
also known as a GIA, but would be taxable on
correct.
gains. At the same time, that's why premium bonds are kind of favoured by people who earn quite a lot, because any winnings there is considered tax free. Um,
Yeah, I was going to say
it,
actually, premium bonds are quite good. I think you will have £50,000 per individual in premium bonds,
correct, yeah,
and so it can be quite a good place if you've um, yeah, filled up any if you've got instant access accounts that are then going to be taxable soon, then premium bonds is a good way to redirect cash into. Um, Another option is also paying off your mortgage. So that is a guaranteed return, um, and it's not taxable. So if you've got a mortgage at 4% rate, you're essentially earning 4% on your money by paying that off. But yeah, as you said as well, Alex, the general investment account is the overflow once you've filled up your ISA bucket. And I think it generally in like the developed world, like £20,000 of tax-free investment allowance is really good. I think that in
yeah,
America, I think they have like is it 401k, which is essentially their pension equivalent, and then I
yeah,
think they've got
correct.
an IRA, and that limit is $4,000 a year, I think. So
Yeah, I think you're right. It's not a lot compared with our own thing. So actually, living kind of in England, we do have access to a lot of wealth building tools,
yeah,
which is why semi recently, 20 like from 2020 to 2024, you saw lots of newspaper articles about ISA millionaires in
hmm
England, and this is why they've just put money in their ISA and it's grown over time, and it's obviously treating them very well. The only other thought, Alex, I've had on kind of optimizing things like this, if you are, say, a few £1,000s above a punitive bracket of sorts and you've used up all of the allowances and limits that we talked about, you can make a charitable donation,
hmm
which then comes off
yeah,
uh, your gross income, right?
correct, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and then that can put you say you earn well, like 180 something thousand or whatever. You've used all the allowances and you're back down to something like 101. And you're like, oh, I'm still in this bracket. Donate some money to charity, and it will pop you just below
yeah,
that amount and gain you um, some personal allowance, or it could be that you're gaining some nursery hours for your kid or some child benefit, depending on the bracket and where you're at. But the key thing, I think, is just knowledge and learning about where you fall and where you're likely to be in 5 years' time, your career trajectory, your earning potential. If you think that these things are going to be problems at some point, it's better to plan for them and know about them now, because it can influence how you move your money, where you store it, what you do with it, um, in like the present, in the now.
I agree. And I think it's probably going to be more of it. Certainly, the 40% bracket is going to be more of a reality for more people over because I think the thresholds are frozen. I think it's till 2027 or 2028, and then there's speculation that in the budget in November that will be extended. So almost the barrier at which you then cross, more and more people will naturally start to cross that barrier, or that bridge, I should say. Um, so yeah, it's probably going to be more pertinent to a lot more people over the next kind of 3 or 4 years, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm just going to quickly Google on my phone a stat for that. It's personal allowances and tax bands at this level since April 22, due to remain there until April 2028. Yeah. So we've got a couple of years of this, but they'll fly by very quickly. and we'll.
Well, they might end up freezing till 2030 or 2032 or something.
That's very possible.
Yeah,
Yeah, who knows? To be honest, what
we
happens in the
shall.
budget? We'll suppose get some nerves about it, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of go from there. Okay. Is there anything else, Alex, you wanted to mention about kind of optimizing your salary? Any other thoughts from your accountancy head that you might have had?
No, I think now we've covered both of those rungs, like both of the bands. I think that's it done. But the strategies are simply a very similar kind of strategies. It's just being aware that there's more and more punitive impact as you go up the income ladder, and it isn't just purely income tax that you need to be worried about. There's a ton of other allowances. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think we've covered those and mentioned some strategies, and yeah, things change, so people keep on top of it. But hopefully, there's some good content.
Yeah, I think so. And certainly for employees or employed people, if you're self employed, it's a
Yeah,
slightly
that's
different story. I'd
correct.
suggest ask your accountant um, for
Yes,
anything like that for sure. I don't know, Alex, if you could hear my dog barking a minute ago.
I can't. I see it more of a cheerleading
Yeah,
rather than
basically
barking.
she's cheering us on from our bedroom. Because
That's it.
she's I'll just explain if you guys can hear it as well. She's getting really old now, so she can get on the bed but not off. So that's
Oh,
her telling my wife, "Please get me off the bed because I want to come down, but I can't do it." Um,
oh,
so
very sweet.
she's been in a different room requesting that. So okay, that's optimizing your salary. Two, if we think of anything more, we'll do an optimizing salary three at some point. But at this point, Alex, I'll pass to you for a.
Reasonable or ridiculous?
I do, yeah, and I'd be keen also to get a medical view on this. So one thing that my wife and I realize is we probably don't eat enough protein.
Okay.
And so we've got some friends of ours who are very health conscious, and we went for lunch on Saturday and we got talking about supplements and stuff. So they've persuaded us to buy some protein shake supplement thing. So neither my wife or I have ever taken a supplement,
Mm-hmm.
and my main hesitation has been, well, that's for like gym kind of beefcakes, and I don't really identify as one of them. But also, there's so much, it's quite an unregulated market, and there's probably a lot of crap in them. So why do you want to put that in your body? Um, so we've found, or the recommendation was a supplement which is completely like natural and it's got some protein in it. So we're going to start, I think, need about 80 to 100 grams of protein a day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the calculations tell us, and with we pretty healthily, but a lot of vegetables, um, and like carby type food as opposed to like big lumps of protein. So we are gonna give try to incorporate that into our diet a little bit more. And it, it's a lot more expensive than I thought it was going to be. So we're just going to trial it, but it works out
Mm-hmm.
about 50 to £50 a month basically is how much this powder is, and then you get 25 grams serving within that. 25 grams of protein within a serving, I think it is. So we're just going to try and like incorporate that into like yogurts and or to shakes or something, just to try and up our protein level.
Yeah.
So that was we've only ordered one bag for 1 month to give it a try, but that was our
Mm-hmm.
logic. So I don't know if you think that is reasonable or if we're being absolutely ridiculous.
Well, it depends. So protein, people don't know, it's like a building block for the human body, human life. Your cells need it. They help with amino acids, and it enables your cells to partly function. You need loads of other things
Hmm.
as well. Normally, the given general basic rule would be you have 1 gram of protein per kilo of your body weight. So if you weigh 80 kilos, 80 grams. Um, I say this as someone who does go to the gym, and I do have some protein powder downstairs. I don't use it very often. I try and get most of my protein from food. Um, if you if you have any symptoms of low protein, then I would say it's a good idea to supplement. By symptoms, I mean like brittle hair loss, dry skin, rashes, any fluid buildup, especially in your lower limbs. If you're constantly tired, you get frequent infections, or you get really itchy, like pruritic, like itchy skin, or anything like that, or jaundice. So if you don't have any of those, I would say you're
Yeah.
probably all right, unless your doctor after your last blood test has been like, you could do with some of this. I would say,
No, my only symptom is like just really small biceps.
oh, okay. So you've got to start some bicep curls and take it and see if it makes any difference. Um, I would say from a health point of view, probably not. It's not necessary.
Okay.
If if you take it and you feel better, then that's a different story.
Hmm.
So I would say be your own science experiment
Yeah.
and try it for a month, and then have a chat with your wife and say, do you feel better? Do you not? Do you want to continue? Do you not? I think £600 a year though on protein powder is quite a lot.
I agree. Yes.
Are you having one every day?
That would be assuming one every day, yeah.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
both of us.
for both. So using
Yeah,
50 grams per day. Yeah. Um, yeah, I'd say it's quite punchy. So I only have protein shakes whenever I come back from the gym,
hmm
mostly, unless I've just got a load of tofu to eat or something. Um, so I probably have about two a week, and a big, like, couple of kilo bag will last me a long time.
Okay.
If it was costing me £50 a month, I think I'd question it.
Yeah.
Unless one day you wake up and you look like Chris Bumstead or something.
Yeah,
But
that's the plan. But yeah,
yeah,
that's good to get your view on it because yes, this is very much a trial and the jury's out. Um,
yeah, I would say have a go, right? See what you think. People do far worse things with their bodies than just adding an extra protein powder uh, or something to it. I think it makes a bit of a difference where the protein's from. Is it whey? So it doesn't come from dairy. Does it come from like peas or plants or something?
it is whey protein.
Yeah, so it comes from dairy. So long as neither
Yeah,
of you've got any allergies or intolerances to dairy, then
yeah,
you'll probably be fine. But I think we give it 4 weeks, and then you come
yeah.
back and say whether you think it's useful or not, or whether you'll continue or not.
That's
Um,
it. And I mean, we do go to the gym and we do run a lot, so we are active, and it's just yeah, just whether just when we were looking at how much protein you should need, it's like I'm pretty sure we don't get that from our normal diet, which was then it was like, well, we might then need to up it. So let's see what let's see maybe in our month's time.
See how you go. But I'd be surprised, like, if you guys eat, I'd say meat 3 times a week or twice or something, and you have another, like, a good balanced, varied diet. You have some, like,
Yeah.
beans, egg, um, lentils, even like you mentioned, like starches, carbohydrates, even like
Mm.
pasta's got protein in it. Read some of your food labels of what you eat and what you make. I think you'll be surprised of how much protein is in stuff. Anyway, um, but yeah, I'd be interested to see in a month whether you're going to continue or not, or you'll divert that into, I don't know, some form of investment account somewhere.
That's it. My general investment account is crying out for it.
Yeah, for an extra £50 a month, right?
Well, my share is £25, so
Oh, okay, you split it.
it's
Yeah,
like, yeah, so that's for two people.
yeah,
So
yeah. I've been, yeah. See if you feel better, and then go on. Terms of cost, I don't think it's that unreasonable. You're not choosing between buying that or, I don't know, breakfast or something, are you? So
no, correct. Yeah.
as an additional thing, yeah, maybe you could drink it whilst you go on a run with your Norwegian hat.
Oh yeah. Oh, that came the other day in the post. So it's very good quality, but it's not been cold enough yet to check whether
Almost too hot.
it's
Yeah,
too
too hot
hot
to accept.
currently. So yeah,
November, December.
it might take. Yeah, I was going to say in a month's time, that might be the
Yeah,
kind of.
or you might have to move to Norway
That's it. Yeah.
for the temperatures to wear it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Sweden or something. Iceland. Okay. Um, yeah, those are my thoughts for that return on no reasonable or ridiculous. So I'll just do a quick summary. Um, I've started reading Morgan Housel's new book, The Art of Spending Money. I like it so far. I'll finish it within the week and probably close the loop on what I think about the whole book next week. We've talked about the child benefit tapering that we forgot to mention last week that we didn't finish. We closed that loop as well. It's an additional tax. Be mindful of it if you earn between 60 and 80,000. Like, factor it in to any negotiating you're doing or any job potential that you have. We've talked about tax traps. Last week was 20 to 40%. This week, 40 to 60, and some quite punchy ones. So the 40% brackets between 50,271 and 125,140. Anything above that, you'd pay 45%. There is a bit more pain for dividends as well. Over 125k, you'll pay 39.35% on any dividend income, and you lose totally your savings interest allowance. The interesting wrinkle here to be aware of: if you earn between 100 and 125,000, it's called the 60% trap, because for every £2 over £100,000 you earn in income, you lose £1 of your personal allowance. So in that logic, it's easier or better off to earn £99,500 than it is to earn 102,000, something like that. Do the maths. And just be aware of actually these things. And if you're not sure, ask someone who knows. Ask your payroll people, ask someone in HR. If you've got a mate who's an accountant, you could ask them as well. But also loads of online research available. I think it's reasonable that you are spending a little bit of money on protein. Be your own science experiment and see what you think. If you do decide to continue, you could find a cheaper version, maybe, that's half the cost, and see if you still get the same benefit. It might not be as natural, though, if you found a cheaper cost. Maybe there's some greenwashing going on. Yeah, I think, Alex, that's my summary. That's at least all the notes I've written.
Yeah, that was an awesome summary. Got all the allowances and everything down to the penny.
I wrote them down as you said them. I wouldn't have pulled that out of my head.
Yeah, I've got all my HMRC tax tabs open, so I was just checking it as you were going, and they were all correct.
Oh, good. So I wrote them down as you talk. So whenever I do summaries and you've mentioned anything particularly like numbery or accountancy or just finance in general, I always make sure I write them down, because if you ask me to just reel off the top of my head, I'd get a lot of it wrong. My short-term memory is not great. Okay, that's been episode 78 now. We're getting very close to 80. We'll be nearly in the 90s by perhaps the end of the year, which is interesting. Alex, is there anything more you wanted to mention, or should we wrap it?
No, I think that was everything. So yeah, I hope people found that interesting. Please, as ever, let us know any questions or comments or feedback. Love to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you have a strategy, say you earn well into these amounts, and you have a legal strategy, we should add, and you want to come and talk to us about it, you absolutely can do that. If you're committing fraud, probably don't.
That's it. Yeah. No money laundering or anything.
Yeah, no crime. Certainly not. Okay, Alex, thanks for your time. I'll see you next week for episode 79.
Yeah, see you later.
None of what we discuss on the show is to be considered financial or health advice, and we recommend you always do your own research or consult an independent financial advisor or a doctor when making your financial or health decisions.